Hello and welcome back to Amanda Plays Games, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So this video is done a little differently than the previous ones, I'm assuming you can tell. What happened was I recorded all of the gameplay for like 6 hours, and by the time I looked at it and realized it didn't record any of the actual video game footage or like the audio for it. And so I was just going to do the entire like 2.5 hour video of just the original voiceover that I did and just some music in the background, but then I figured it would be too much like standing in an elevator with me while I talk for 6 hours. So I just decided to speed up this episode and the next one and kind of do a voiceover and talk about everything that's happening. So we are making our way to the Divine Beast in Goran City in this episode. I know that it's taking a long time to get anywhere in this game, but I've fixed that since then. I had a lot of trouble with these bokoblins here before the stables, and I could not figure out how not to die for a few times. I'm pretty sure I get it done yep, I got it done pretty quickly. And there was these sisters again who were out here hunting for truffles like it's not monster-infested lands. I don't understand it. When you talk to them, they're both like, oh, I know that I shouldn't do it, but oh well. Another blood moon. I was really nervous that it was going to resurrect all the ones I had just killed, but thankfully it did not. The Moakit Shrine. This one, I actually figured out pretty quickly what I needed to do. That it was a magnetic ball, and then I just kind of use it as a smasher. And so it didn't take me too long to get this, the chest and the spirit orb from here. You just pick up the magnet ball and push all the other... I mean, I don't know if that's the way you're supposed to do it, but that is the way that I did it. And it worked fine. You just shove all the other balls out of the way. And then here are the stables, the Foothill Stables. So, at this stable is the first place you meet the Rito. I think his name is Cass, but I lovingly call him Jacques because I think that the music that he plays on his accordion always sounds kind of French to me. I picked some very nice Parisian melody to go behind it. He just retells you the same story that Impa told you when you bring back the first, I can't remember if it's the memory or when you first, no, it's when you first see her and she's like telling you the history of the universe or something. So he just retells it to you, but now I think that's the catalyst for some of the shrine quests, because a lot of the shrine quests that you find, he actually is there playing his accordion, and that's how you find him. And then he has like a little song that he sings for you. I say in quotations because he doesn't actually sing, it's just he tells you the riddle of how to solve the shrine. But I have never seen any before you meet him at this stable. And then after you meet him at this stable, you just kind of find him while you're wandering around. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it's kind of like the Blood Moons where you don't have to talk to that guy first. It just happens automatically. But I'm not knowledgeable enough in The Legend of Zelda to know that. Here I am making a lot of the wrong thing, because when you head up into Goran City, you need a potion to resist fire damage, and I made a lot of foods to resist heat damage, which is not the same thing. I learned in a very painful way. Because as soon as I get up into the mountain, that the part where you actually need the fire resistance potion, I die. And then I decide to go all the way back down to the stable to make the potions or buy some from the gal and redo the entire thing. Thankfully, I didn't record me failing epically and then going all the way back down the mountain, going all the way back up the mountain. I just kind of paused the video and then did that. But I found these emus, was killing them, found some fun. These guys drop the whole bird, which I think is like the most prime meat that you can get from a bird. There was a guardian here who, so Beetle at the stable, he gives you an ancient arrow, or a couple of them. I think he only gives you one. And I think you are supposed to use it on this. I thought at the time that you were supposed to use it on this guardian, and that would be the only guardian on the way up. No. I mean, you are probably still supposed to use it on this guardian. But it's not the only guardian. So I struggled with this guardian quite a few times because I could not remember how to fight the guardians without like shooting 800 arrows into them. I had to ask my sister. She had to like give me a breakdown of how to defeat these guys, because I don't know if you could tell with the footage sped up. I did try to hit it, but for some reason I couldn't hit the legs, because I know that's like that's how I do it later on with the other guardian. You like go up to it and hit the legs, and the legs will pop off, and then it like stuns it and you can like really kill it. But for some reason, the first time I tried it with this one, it didn't land any of the hits, and so I thought, okay, well, I guess you just don't do it that way. And then there was a long time of just me trying to defeat this guardian with like any arrows that I could, and it just wasn't working very well. I tried to like hide behind things and just snipe it, but it was taking literally like every arrow that I have, and then it was not working, obviously, because then it just murdered me, and I was getting really frustrated with this guardian because I could not figure out how to do it. So then I kind of figured out, well, while I'm hiding behind this rock, it has to focus on me. So right away, I'll just use that. As soon as I get a really clear eye shot, I'll use that ancient arrow, and it worked. I finally got it. And then I headed up the mountain. Found some fire keys. Found some luminous stones. So that was all the information for that. Decided I was looking, I think, for a shrine there because my shrine sensor was going off, but I couldn't figure out. I have such a hard time finding the shrines in GORAN land, I guess. I don't know what you call the whole section of the map. There's the tower, so we'll find out pretty soon. But I could not see them because they're like the same color and everything as the lava. But here I am trying to figure out why all that heat resistance food that I made wasn't working. And then the second guardian came up and startled me, and there I was. So I went all the way back down. I didn't record it at all, but I went all the way back down, made a couple fireproof potions, bought the last one from the lady, learned how to fight the guardians, and then came back, because here I am taking out the legs the way you're supposed to. I don't know why it didn't let me the first time, and I kind of just gave up, but it was easy peasy after that. And I made sure to save because I only have to die without saving a couple times, and then I learn a lesson. And I was using, because this is all hot people, I was using the ice staff to defeat them. Because when you have an elemental monster, fire keys or like ice Lizalfos or something, if you use the opposite element, then it'll kill it in one shot usually. Okay, and here I am looking at the map to try to figure out what I'm doing. I tried to cut some time off by just kind of drifting over it. And like a person who never learns a lesson, I tried to take on the Talos like the second that I saw it. Everything is burning because everything lights on fire here. I think I did pretty well with this one. I was just having so much trouble because all my weapons were lighting on fire, but I did get it. Now, there was an Octorok on the path here, and it's important that you fight them, because when you fight the Blight Ganon that's in the Divine Beast, I think it's Rudania, it uses the same mechanic where it like sucks, so the little Octoroks suck up. Ideally, you drop a bomb, it sucks it up, you detonate it, and then it kills it. And the Blight Ganon, the Lava Blight Ganon, or the Fire Blight Ganon, or whatever is on there, the second phase does the exact same thing. So here you need the Flamebreaker armor. He wants 10 fireproof lizards. You kind of just run around and collect them. I had a lot because they're everywhere, which kind of makes me wonder why he couldn't catch them himself. Still trying to get into the actual city. Everything I own is on fire. And then, oh, these are the, there's like, because Rudania is upset or whatever, it's shooting meteors everywhere. So that's kind of what I was dodging there. And then you see him, you get to Goron City. And then he talks about Daruk a little bit. I'm kind of sad because I don't have the video game audio. There are both of the kind of cutscenes with Daruk that we miss out on because we don't see the initial one where you kind of remember him. There's no audio for that. And then the one on the Divine Beast when he's talking to you and then he takes Rudania out. I just lost all that, so that sucks. I was very supremely unhappy when I checked and I noticed after like a huge all-day recording session that I didn't have any video game audio. And I was like, yeah, I'm not re-recording 6 hours of footage. I would have cried a lot. So we just have to deal with not having the audio for it. It sucks, but what can you do? Learn a lesson, and then you just kind of... Now I record, like before I start recording, I record like a 10-second clip. I do a jump, I do a whistle, I make sure I can hear everything, and then I just go for it. We meet the boss here. He's the main Goron person. And he sends us on a quest to go find Yunobo is his name. We got enough spirit orbs to get a stamina wheel increase and a heart, so we did both. I was trying to figure out, I thought that maybe that was a Korok spot, but I couldn't figure out how to activate it, so I very quickly gave up and did the this shrine here. It was pretty simple. You just light everything on fire. which is kind of my favorite kind of shrine. I like the ones where it's just pretty simple puzzle action. You just light this on fire, light that on fire. And then you find the key, you come back, oops. Of course, then you don't put your phone on silent when you're doing a recording and it goes off. But I got it pretty, there were a couple things like I didn't understand why it was doing it. Some dangly flame holders, and I kind of went down there and checked. Here you see you just put the bomb down, it sucks it up, you blow them up. Here was another puzzle with some cannons. Kind of, I think, teaching you, because you have to use a cannon later to... You shoot Yunobo at Rudanya because he has Daruk's, oh, what is it called? The shield thing? Daruk's protection or something. So you shoot him at Rudanya and he, like, does what he needs to do. He activates it. And so this is kind of practice for how to use the cannons. I did have to... I am not very good. I've learned over the years that I'm just not very good at things that require a whole lot of mental fortitude. And so for a lot of the things, and I just don't have the patience for it. So for this, it's pretty straightforward until you get to the... Where Yunobo actually is. There's like a cave-in. And I could not figure out how to get him out of there. I was like putting bombs down. I was trying to figure out what to do. Nothing. So then I just looked it up because it's just not enjoyable for me if I'm struggling for a long time trying to figure out what I'm trying to do. It's not fun. So, get some... I think I was looking... See my Sheikah... My shrine sensor is going off again. And so I was trying to look for where the shrine was. Could not find it. Here I am trying to blow stuff up to try to figure out how to get him out of there. Couldn't figure it out. Climbed up to the top. Found a Korok. But couldn't figure out how to... I tried shooting. I thought maybe... the rocks were too hot and so the bomb wasn't working, so I tried to shoot ice arrows at it to cool down the stone. Then I looked it up and I just realized, oh, you're supposed to use this cannon and like time it perfectly and it'll break it. So did that, got up there, Yunobo, and he tells me to go back to the boss so that way we can move on with life. So I just kind of looted the area here. This one was hard because it was like an hour and a half of just running. Solid. It was like 2 hours of running. You run up the mountain. You're just traveling like the entire time. You go up the mountain to get to Goran City. And then you go up higher in the mountain to get Yunobo. And then you go back down the mountain. I still couldn't figure out what this was. To talk to the boss again. In order to go back up the mountain higher to get to Rudanya. So here's our very interesting cutscene with Daruk. He almost murdered us because he smacked us into the next year. And, that's pretty much it. It's sad that we miss it, but I know for a fact it is on YouTube. On its own. So, I'm sure I'm just not very smart. I could not figure out how to get to this bridge. I was running around Goron City back and forth 700 times to try to figure out where I needed to turn to get onto that bridge, onto that path, and up. I couldn't figure it out. And so I just decided that the quickest route between points A and B is through. So I just went for it. I climbed a mountain, jumped over, cut through. Like, I think I do find the road pretty much as soon as I get to the top of the mountain. But I was just like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. It's not very clear, at least to me. So I just climbed over and fell in lava, which was not fun. I was probably looking for shrine again, and here's the road that you're supposed to be on. I don't know how you get here from in the city, so I just cut straight across. Yunobo's up here again, being hassled by moblins that I'm pretty sure murder me. Yep. At least once or twice. And I got so frustrated because I didn't save up there. And so it took me, I had to reclimb the mountains. I was so frustrated. I found this track, so I was trying to use the little train car, and I know that's how you use it, but I gave up pretty quickly because I got frustrated that I couldn't make it go continuously. And I had to fight a lot more creatures on the way up because I found the road a lot earlier. I saved. I learned my lesson. See, I learned lessons. A drill shaft, which I've promptly left because I was like, this is a bad weapon. And just trying to stay alive. So, got them all. Yunobo's up here, ready to be chucked at Rudanya, I guess. First, you have to shoot him with the cannon into the bridge, and then it'll put down the bridge and you can go up. And it's kind of like a game of red light, green light. You have to try only a very smart person's red light, green light, because you're trying not to be seen by the flying guardians. Only there were some of them that never moved. Some of them, like this first one, it has a very clear path, and so you just, stand under it, go when it says, although he wasn't far enough under the little ledge. But there were other ones like this one that just didn't move, and so I was having a heck of a time trying to figure out how to get around it. And finally I figured I would just go through, but the problem is that Yunobo won't go through. No matter if you're on the other side and you call him or if you try to lead him, he just stops. So that wasn't working, so I had to look it up on YouTube. I can't remember who I looked it up. I wish I could, because then I could, tell you who I watched. But help me figure out. So I went up onto the thing to do what they said. And I think that when Rudanya rained the meteors down, he actually killed his own guardian. So then every time there's a cannon, you're supposed to shoot Yunobo at Rudanya. So we did that. There were a couple more of these that I was just having such a hard time with because they weren't moving enough, and so then I had to go over it, try to do it from a different angle. I managed to make it work. And then there's a moblin up here at the next cannon, so I had to get rid of him. I was trying to figure out how to get around this guy, and I kind of figured out that you need to use these, I don't know what they are, doors or something, pieces of wall, to like cover yourself so it can't see you. I just did a bad job the first time. Bring Yunobo with me, stick him in the cannon, shoot him at Rudanya. I think that this is like on the other divine beasts where you're like shooting their cannons or their little like light sensors on the outside. You just shoot Yunobo at it instead of arrows. So it worked. But it took such a long time because you're just traveling the entire time with this guy. Like if it was just me, I could just run through it. I wouldn't have to stop. But here you have to like clear the way for him to come with you, because otherwise he won't do it. You know, he won't just follow you, and he's no help when you fight moblins. Then I had to redo all of that, so I was frustrated. But, you know, I said I learned my lessons. Not easily, though. I always have to, like, die and go back, and then I'm like, geez. I should learn the lesson, but it's always the same. Doesn't matter what I play. Skyrim, Fallout, apparently this. If there's some kind of saving mechanism that I have to do, I always think of it after I have died at least once and had to go back. So we got Rudanya down there, we jumped onto him, activated him, and then that's pretty much where the episode ends. Thank you anyone and everyone who was watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.